Hello everyone, welcome to this presentation. My name is Connor and I'm going to talk to you about the Starlore mythology of the Tuatha Danann. What I'm going to share is a calculation formula reanimating the magical beasts of Ireland's ever-living calendar. In this first slide, you see a gathering of people to watch the summer solstice sunrise on Tuatha over Lugh Island. The rest of the show is not about sunrises. It's about dusk and about midnight. True midnight is, of course, not 12 o'clock. That's the calendar in your watch, which is not true time. Summer solstice is just about here. And Lair Vaughan is the Old Irish for the white mare. The white mare, of course, came from ancient times, and Danann would be the god associated with the white mare. In terms of on the right-hand side of the picture, you see on Lair Vaughan an ancient Ogham. There's a linear script developed again by one of the Tuatha Danann that Danann belonged to. And the white horse in galloping mode. Saora. Saora is the Old Irish word and still used today for summer. But we're concerned with true midnight. And that star for Saora is the star Al-Nazl. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, it's an Arabic term. But we all would know Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the archer on the horse. So, the two, archer and horse, being one person, or one animal. So true midnight is when the azimuth is at 178. Now azimuth, very simply explained, due north would be 0, due east would be 90, and then due south is 180. So almost at due south, which you measure during the day, by the height of the sun. For the 20th, 21st and 22nd of June, we have the longest day and the shortest night. And if you look due south at the time of true midnight, this shape is what you'll see in the sky. This is the star group Sagittarius. So you can see, if you look closely at the image, due south is where the red S is. And from there, a line goes straight up. This line and all the writings don't appear in the night sky. This is taken off a computer program called solarium.org. Very handy tool. But true midnight on the summer solstice is at 1:26. Give a bit of thought to that. It's not 12 o'clock or in the army 23:59. It's at 1:26. Think about it. Summer solstice, it's still bright at 11:10. 11:15, still bright. Then it gets progressively, now it's dark. But then all of a sudden, at 1:30 nearly, 1:26, it is dark. It's midnight. The sun on the solstice rises. 4 o'clock-ish. So middle of the night is halfway between sunset and sunrise. So it couldn't be at 12 o'clock. It's fake numbers. So Ainvar is the name of this horse, this white mare, from Danann. Danann Maclear. Long button. Here I've superimposed the horse shape over the star group Sagittarius and shown how much of the horse, his legs are below the horizon. His body is above the horizon. Again, I'm pointing to Al Nozzle. It's 6 degrees altitude. This is altitude, height above the horizon. This horse is no ordinary horse. First of all, it's white. And a lot of ancient cultures had their magic animals for white. You have the white buffalo in America. You have white camels in the Arab lands. We have a white horse named Ainvar. And it's no ordinary horse. It's a magic horse. It can run on the sea and it can run on the land. There's 3 horses, 3 white mares from the Camargue in France. Beautiful creatures. There's obviously land just under the water. Ainvar was the horse that brought Uiscin and Niamh to Tír na nÓg and back to here to Ireland. Different spellings of Ainvar, depending on which book you're copying from. But Niamh is closely associated with Manannán. That's Manannán's horse. That's Uiscin on the back. He asked and got a loan of the horse to come to Ireland because he had gotten lonely. He'd been an unknown amount of time in Tír na nÓg, which means land of the young, or land of the ever young, where they party all day and all night, all that sort of carry on. But he wanted to come home to see the lads. He's part of a warrior band. So she loaned him the horse, but she gave him the warning. Don't get off the horse. If you get off the horse, you'll age rapidly. So he was 200 years in Tír na nÓg. When he came back to Ireland, he foolishly tried to help somebody lifting a big stone. And the girth strap snapped on the horse and he fell, touched the ground and dissolved into dust. It's a lovely story. During the protests to save Tara from an unnecessary toll road, started about 2003, we found this horse, a white mare, only about that size of a horse, with a broken leg in a skip. And it was brought out and it joined in some of our full moon ceremonies. There was a giant, there's some great discoveries during the excavations at Tara. They did the first layer of excavating with a 22-ton digger, which is an absolute insult to our glorious heritage. But in the process, in the main valley at Tara, they discovered the bones of a large horse and a large dog and a high status female. All this was quickly covered. One of the young archaeologists working on the project saw what they were doing and complained and started saying, this is the most fantastic thing, tourism, heritage. They very quickly disappeared the horse, the dog, and the high status female into black plastic bags and away to storage. They disappeared it. It barely got a mention anywhere, and he resigned on the spot. So we don't know any more about that story because they kept it all shush shush. Now we're on to the part 2 of this. There's 8 parts in total, but today we're only going to cover 3 parts. This is a fine big wolfhound of a dog. He's called Shallowness. Again, his name in Old Irish, the Ohm, is on the left. He also gets called Fal Inish, which is an old name for Ireland. Depends again on which book you're reading from. We didn't have lions in Ireland, but we did have these wolfhounds. I don't know if people know it, but these wolfhounds are taller than a fully grown adult male. The dog is our equivalent to the lion. The god we associate with this is Lugh. Shalannus was the name of the hound that Lugh had. Lunasa is the celebrations for Lugh. It's between the end of July and the start of August. The system that we live in has allowed the 1st of August, but that's not, it's not really true. It's all fake time. The calendar that we work by today, the ordinary calendar, is a creation by a pope, Pope Gregory XIII, in the 1500s, invented the current commercial calendar. I'm being polite. This one is not timed by midnight, lining up of stars to the ground. This is timed for dusk. Next slide. So here you see the star group Leo coming down and just touching the red horizon. The white star, I've enlarged the stars to make it easier to see them. They're not quite that big in comparison to the sun or the moon. But here you see Regulus, which is the heart of the lion, coming down to touch the horizon. While on the right-hand side of the image, you can see the sun and the dark moon are below the horizon. So this creates the perfect conditions for the star to be seen while it's still in twilight. So, the sun glare removed is written on the top left, but in the image I've taken a bit of liberty and I've darkened the sky a bit. So when the sun and moon are together at 7 degrees below the horizon, and a star such as Regulus is 3 degrees above the horizon, you get to see it. You don't get to see all the other stars, but you get to see this Regulus or Shalannus star just for maybe a minute, and it enlarges. On the horizon there's a magnifying effect. So this star, I like to think sometimes it winks at us, but the wink is to close your eye. What this star does, it becomes visible to us. Only does this once a year, and it does it on different dates. Let me move on. Here I've taken the hound, Shalannus, and overlaid him on top of the star group of Leo. When the sun and dark moon have set, that's when the star of Regulus becomes visible to us. So this varies throughout the years, because the dark moon is not on the same day every year or every month. It shifts. This is one of the major difficulties for people who try to manipulate time. If you could manipulate time, it would seem as if you were in control of it. And the kings and emperors and the popes and high-ranking religious officials in every culture wanted to be known as having the power to fix time, because they controlled life and death and so on. Well, they wanted to control time. We all know the famous story of King Wenceslas, who wanted to stop the tides coming in and out. So they were this arrogant or this egocentric. But if you could control time, it would be seen as a powerful magical feat. The sun and moon align up regardless of what you or I want. But at these special times, Regulus will be just above the horizon and the sun and moon just below. And that becomes a visual event. What I'm describing, or trying to describe, is the observable astronomy. The astrology section of it is a different thing, but the astronomy, to measure it, that's what I'm trying to describe. This is a very unique dog. You can see Shallowness not only is a huge wolfhound that can chase deer that nobody could kill, but he also has a meteor shower in November associated with him. Now, all of the star groups have some sort of meteor shower associated with them at different times. But this is a particularly interesting meteor shower. Before we go on to the next slide, are you going to be ready for this? Okay. A magic war dog who has a great attitude, loves his owner, his master, had two very special magic tricks. One is, if he vomited, got sick, the sick would be silver and gold. Now that is some magic trick. That dog would keep you in wealth. That's what this suggests. And every stream that he would bathe in would turn to mead or wine. Now, mead is a drink made with honey. Wine is a drink that's made with grapes. The grapes would have been brought into Ireland back in the day as wine. Very obviously. So here's a magic dog that works for his master, can't be beaten, can't be killed by man or beast, that makes gold, silver, and the water he washes in turns drinkable as mead or wine. That to me is a royal dog. That's the king of dogs. Well, Leo is the king of lions. So I see easy to transpose from Leo to Shallowness. And the next slide. I'm going to ask Niamh to read a bit for the next slide. But this meteor shower is very special. It's been a meteor shower since the time the Earth was formed. It's not always hugely visible, but in 1883 it was seen all over the place, all over Europe, but particularly strong in America, where it was recorded. And this is some of the recording Niamh's going to give us. So, over to you, Niamh.
The meteor storm of November 12th to 13th, 1833, caused an innkeeper to awaken Abraham Lincoln and exclaim that the day of goodness had come. This illustration of the 1833 Leonids by R.M. Eldridge, depicting the shower as a fulfillment of biblical prophecy, appeared in an early 20th century book, Bible Readings for the Home. The trails of the meteors during the 1833 shower were mostly white, but some were other colours, like yellowish or reddish, according to observers. Bright meteors might have shown a golden colour. The colour of a meteor depends on its chemical composition, with sodium giving orange-yellow, iron giving yellow, magnesium giving blue-green, calcium giving violet, and atmospheric nitrogen and oxygen giving red.
That's some meteor shower. So much so that Abe Lincoln had to check were the real star groups still there. every 33 years or so, this is a big event. But we get to see little bits of it. That was a major event in November. Major event. And when it was happening, in the background of the centre, where all the showers seemed to come from, was shallowness. So all these meteors of different colours are vomiting gold and silver. That's how big he is. I don't know who took the photo, and photo credit goes to them. I don't know who the human male is, but that's an Irish wolfhound. Now they were rebred. They've been made extinct. They've been rebred and brought back into Ireland by the careful selection and mixing of other breeds. But one of its main characteristics, its intelligence and its willingness to learn, are not quite there. It's deficient. But this was the great wolfhound dog that would be seen in front of the fire in every castle in Europe. This is the great dog that Fionn McCool gets his hands on. This is the great dog that appears in all the big manuscripts. He's still in the night sky. Now I'm going quite fast, faster than I planned to. Moving on to another true midnight event. We've looked at the white mare for summer. We've looked at the giant war dog or hound for lunacy. And now we're looking at the crane bird for fór. Fór is the Irish for autumn. So there's a little story about the crane bird, which I'll also ask Niamh to read. Got you on the hop.
The Corbolloch crane bag has appeared throughout history in many Irish Celtic mythological stories. In one story, Aoife, daughter of Daelbeth, and Lugh, daughter of Abarthach, both fell in love with Ilbrech, the son of the Irish sea god, Danann MacLear. Ilbrech, however, was only interested in Aoife. In a fit of jealousy, Lugh turned Aoife into a red-capped crane bird, who then flew to the lands of Manannan, Tir na Nog, and lived there for 200 years. When she died, Manannan, stricken with grief, used her skin to make the crane skin bag, where he kept all his magical possessions. Any animals that were taken out of the bag to be slaughtered and eaten would reappear the next day. Cúl, father of the Irish warrior Fionn McCool, later came upon the Corbolloch. Cúl was killed by Gull MacMorna, and the crane skin bag was stolen and given into the care of Lugh, chieftain of Lugh, in the province of Connacht. Fionn later avenged his father's death and took back the Corbolloch.
In this you see the continuation from one age through to another age, what's called by archaeologists the Stone Age and the Iron Age. So it went through the Bronze Age. The continuity of these magical beasts went all the way through over thousands of years. That's because they're still in the sky. That's what you're looking at. This is what they would sit and talk about at the fire. You sit around the campfire, you share the news, you share what's coming up next month and next week, and you tell it in terms of what's in the sky. And you may add in some of the influence of planets. If you say the Mars planet currently is conjunct Regulus in Leo. So the Mars is the planet for war and for love It's the energy planet. So if I was around the fire and I was telling a story and it was about Lunasa or about shallowness, I'd say, and he's feeling very fierce at the moment and stuff like that, because Mars will show tonight. So for the next 2-3 nights, Mars can be seen almost on top of the heart of the lion, or the star we call shallowness in Lugh's dog. So I find it quite unusual that Israel has announced Rising Lion as the name for their war against Iran at a time when the war planet is on the heart of the royal hound dog. Make no predictions. Going back here, I say, look, on the right is Cora, written in Ohm. So this is a true midnight event. True midnight is 1:16, not 12 o'clock. True midnight is only 12 o'clock if you're a slave to the system. If you're working with the light and the truth, you move into true midnight. It's like high noon. If I said to you, I'd meet you tomorrow at high noon, and you turned up at 12 o'clock, and you thought I was late, I'd be laughing at you. I'm going to arrive at high noon, when the sun is at its height. And I do it just for the crack. So I've named all the stars here of Cora, which carries the whole name Cygnus, which means swan. So I mention that again later, so we can see it. At 12 o'clock, this star group is over there. But when he lines up, he's actually due west at midnight, true midnight. There's another thing to take into account here. To find this star group, you go to the top star, Deneb, and then you come over to Vega on the right, and then lowest one slightly on the left, Altair. And this makes a triangle. So this is a well-known star grouping, the triangle. But also this particular star group of Cora, or Cygnus, contains within it the Northern Cross. So it's a very recognisable star group and can guide you to where, you know, it's this way to go home. I'm talking about the times before road signs and traffic lights. It's follow that star group to go home. Oh, we know what time it is roughly. It's the middle of the night. It'll be sunrise soon. They were the measurements of time for the ancestors. So, to the west, here's the crane board stretched out over the star group. Now the azimuth here is 271. 271, if that's the north, that's 0, 90, 180, 271. So, when you practice the idea of orientation, you automatically know where north and south and east and west is. It's just, it comes to you with a little bit of practice, with a bit of star watching. By watching where the sun rises and the moon rises, you automatically also watch where they set. And you begin to learn the time of the year and the time of the month, and of course the time of the cycle, the day-night cycle. So to recognise this now, you still have the bright stars of Lyra, Deneb, and there just on the lower left, I say Aquila, that's the eagle, while the bright star above it is, go back one, Altair. So this star group would have gone through the night sky in the autumn, laying on its side, like this. In a moment I'll get Niamh to read out the small script, but first, if you look carefully, on the lower left here you can see, for me, what was the signifier that this star group could also be the crane bird. The North American Nebula. It's a big red thing. This is the skull of the crane bird. Its skin over the skull is red. It's not red feathers. It's actually a red skin. Guess what the Druids used to do back in the day? This was their tonsure, the front part of the head. The Catholics, the back part of the head. The Buddhists, the entire head. So our ancestors that worked as Druids would have their forehead shaved and painted red to imitate the crane bird and its ways and its wisdoms. This one is from 2017. That's when I discovered the North American Nebula. So that turned the Latin, if you like to say, the Latin star group upside down to become the Irish star group for the red cap crane bird. But this star lore that I'm sharing has no relation, direct relation, to the Egyptian stuff or to the Sumerian stuff. Nearly all of the known astrology and astronomy can be traced back to the Sumerians. Well, the Irish astrology and astronomy stands alone and separate from that lineage. We're looking at the same stars, but we see them differently. We can see stars here that Scandinavians can't see, that even people in Glasgow can't see. Stars for us that only skim across the horizon are hugely visible in Portugal, completely invisible in the north of Ireland. So, Niamh, would you have another go at reading out for us?
Deneb is the brightest star in Cygnus, a white supergiant star, and is one of the largest and most luminous A-class stars known. Albireo is a celebrated binary star. The primary is an orange-hued giant star, and the second is a blue-green hued star. Saturn is a yellow-tinged supergiant star. Its name means breast. Ina means the wing, and is an orange giant star. Rook is a triple star. It will become the North Star for at least 400 years around the year 11,250 CE. The brightest is a blue-white giant. Next is a yellow-white star, and then an orange giant star. The North American Nebula, so called for its shape, shows as red in photographs. Note, in 16,000 to 15,000 BCE, Deneb was pole star. Second note, in Cygnus, Albireo is the head, but in the crane, Deneb is the head with red cap.
This is a huge star group, very prominent in the night sky in the later half of the year. But there's much more to all this. So I just go back for a wee sec. You can see here, not on that one, here in this one, at the very bottom, under the W for west, is the Bohea stone. There's a big flat rock with carvings into it. Cup marks they're called, hollows, sometimes with rings carved into the rock. And this connects to this. Wrong button. Here's a picture of me looking along a cross that connects up to the Northern Cross, which is also the stars of the crane board. So you can see at the bottom, Deneb, Gina, Rook, Sadir in the middle, Ita and Alberio. Apologies about my pronunciations. Nobody's taught me this. I've guessed a lot of this. There is no book yet. I am writing the book, but there is no book on this knowledge yet. And I don't have anybody that can teach me how to pronounce Arabic properly. But this is the Bohea stone, and this is me looking along the line of what's a natural cross in a big rock. I don't think it's a natural cross, but I wouldn't pull the grass out in case I was accused of damaging it. This happened. This is a very special day. This happened because a student asked me for more knowledge on a range of subjects. And we took the day and we went to the west of Ireland, out past Westport, to do a few different things. And this was one of them. We brought him to the beach first to let go all the things in his life that were stuck, that he didn't want, that couldn't serve him, to do a release ceremony. And he stood in the sea, on the beach, no shoes or socks on, the wind in his hair, and he did a letting go. You should always have somebody with you if you want to do this sort of thing. And then after that, and his wide-eyed appearance had settled a bit, I got him to collect some stones, white quartz stones. These are some of them. Now, white quartz is quite a difficult stone to work with tools if you're trying to carve it or make a shape in it, because it's one of the hardest stones in Ireland. But the stone it's sitting into, that's one of the softer stones. So it's a granite fleck, mica, and you can carve. You just have to keep doing this. Now, we didn't carve any, very obviously. This is a national monument, so we protect it. But we placed the stones, and then out of the stones comes this. Now, I didn't know that the crane board was carved in stone hollows for you to animate by putting rocks into. I didn't know there was the Northern Cross as depicted here in the big rock, but I knew what was in the night sky. I was able to put the two of them together very quickly and say, it's a teaching aid. So we decided to leave the rocks in place, and 2 weeks later when I came back, they were gone. So, I don't know. I could see something, other people didn't see it, but a lot more people will go to the Bohea stone to see this. If you follow the direction of the arrow pointing at W, you can only see trees. This is because nobody knows it's actually an alignment, a direction giver. But that's the mountain there, the Holy Mountain. It has twice a year when people visit it, 18th of April and the 24th of August. Now those days can shift a bit because you get your extra day every 4 years. That's using the fake calendar, the calendar people use for work. So the Bohea stone is to the left of this picture. Just above the Holy Mountain is where you'd see the crane board on the autumn equinox. That's the last one, sorry, going back. That's what you'd see. Where that W is would be the middle of the mountain. Going up there beside that middle of the mountain, that's the Milky Way. So the crane board is flying in the Milky Way. And the Bohea stone Come on. There's a good one for the editor. The Bohea stone is this one. So I am in the west, looking west, at a holy mountain that on the autumn equinox, this will be in the sky above. That to me is very powerful. A gift I was given. Gift of awareness. Oh, wrong button. And that's the holy mountain. This is the Starlore mythology of the Tuatha Danann. These are the beasts associated, the magic beasts. Each of them has its own personal type of magic. I'll go through them a little bit. The Bradán, which is the Irish for salmon, that's the magic beast for Samhain, the end of the year, the start of the new year. His magic? He disappears. He leaves the rivers and he's not seen for another 11 months. They swim to the thinnest water and they lay thousands of eggs, and then they go through a change. They physically transform. The male grows a beak and they start dying. So this is the time of celebrating the end and the renewal. So they just laid lots of eggs and they just start dying off. But an abundance of food, an abundant resupply of food, that's the Bradán. Next one, to the right, Mucka. Mucka is wild pig, or boar as we'd call it. Now Dagda was the god for the Mucka, for the pig. Dagda was given these by Danann, who gave many things to many people. The magic of these pigs is that one is always roasting and the other one is always growing. So there's so many of them that you could never run out. They roamed in the apple orchard in Dagda's Milky Way. So Dagda's connection to all of this comes out much more when I do the Dagda slide about Mucka. It's a fierce animal. We know of Ross Muck down in the Kerry Lakes, the Killarney Lakes. Well, Ross is a grove of trees, a woodland, and Mucka, is wild boar. They would seal off a herd of wild boar late November. So they all had plenty of meat for the winter, trapped on this land spit with all its trees, where they would do the gardening for you. They would plant things, they would root things up, they'd knock back all the brambles and all the problems and stuff and create an abundance, as well as fertilise the place. So his magic is abundance. Again, managed, but still abundance. On Ban Rian Biacha, this is the queen bee. The queen bee is very strong in Cork, and West Cork and Kerry, under the name for Gobnet. Gobnet has a similar story and traits to Bridget. In fact, some say that Gobnet is Bridget in another capacity. While the Irish bee is a brown or dark bee, it's very placid and would be endangered in Ireland by foreign bees, imported bees. Bridget's bee disappeared around the time of Imbolc. It went to the other world. All of these animals go to the other world when they go under the horizon. The magic of the bee is, of course, the mead. Shalness wasn't making the mead, really. It was the bee. It's also sweetness. It's also preserver. It's also the basis of storing for the long term the various herbs and healing cures you might have. Let me go on to the dragon, Ullifest. Crom. Made famous by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Completely out of character. But they missed the point of the great Crom. Crom is known under various names in various cultures. He's such a big star group that he covers all the way from Leo, Gemini, Libra, and Virgo. So he's underneath 4 star groups. Crom is fertility. When Crom is in the air, it's the 17th of March, when his point of laying eggs, let's call it the reproduction organ, touches the ground as he flies over the land of Ireland. He's not seen in Scotland. He doesn't skim the land when he goes across Portugal. But he's known as Cuchulainn in Mesoamerica. He's known as the Leviathan in the Hebrew traditions. Ling in the Chinese. And they all give him similar attributes. And they all mark the 17th of March. This is what Patrick tried to displace, but it's completely gone now because nearly all Paddy Day parades have dragons in them. Crom-a-boo. The bull. The bull is best known to us from the story of the 2 bulls fighting in the Táin Bó Cúailnge. This is sacred to Billa. This is the Bealtaine or Beltane. This is when the bulls are let out after winter storage, when the ground is firmed up enough for the bulls to be allowed out. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but when this happens, they jump and they kick and they look mad happy to be out. But they're dangerous because they have to run. They have to bang off things. They're big beasts. So when you're going sacred site hunting and it's around the time of May 1st, check the field first before you go in. His magic is the fertility. Thousands of years ago, there could have been 10, 12 million cows in Ireland. These days, there's 3.5 million every year slaughtered. Well, 1 million exported live and 2.5 million slaughtered. Give or take. There's no profit in it for the poor farmer. All the profits have been stolen by the big guys at the top. But this land is suitable for cows. Not the cows we see on the land today, but for the traditional Irish cow. They can winter out on the land. They're smaller, they're sturdier, they give nicer milk, but they're not as commercial as the cows that are now forced. And we just did the Lair Vaughan, the white mare, the magic horse that can run on water and on land. We also did Shallowness, the dog that gets sick gold and silver. What a dog. And the crane bird. The crane bird brings the dead onto the next level. The crane bird has so many intricate little things. It became extinct due to the wishes of the priests in the 1600s. The traditions with the crane bird include, again, a lot more of this will be in the book, include bowing the head when they see a noble person. Well, they wouldn't bow when they saw some bishops, and the bishops were highly offended. Everybody was bowing because of fear of the bishops, but the crane bird just didn't care about who the bishop was. He wasn't noble in his heart. So the church began a campaign of eradicate, get rid of the crane bird. Queen Maeve would have crane birds in every time she went anywhere. She'd be preceded by 2 crane birds. Wow. But the crane would not bow to fake nobility. Made extinct in the 1600s, but has since come back to Ireland. About 7, 8 years ago, we had a lecture given here by Lugh O'Toole, a director in the Wild Eagle Trust? Golden Eagle Trust. And he, in his lecture, told us that the crane board would be back in Ireland in up to 5 years, less than 5 years. 3 years later, the crane board is spotted in Ireland. Then it was spotted following 2 years later, or 1 year later, in a lake, about 20 minutes from here. And myself and Niamh went and had a good look from about 400 yards with our binoculars. And huge board compared to all the other boards that were sort of trying to push it away, get off our lake, get off our lake. The heron and the, looked like a swan of some sort, or a goose maybe, trying to get the crane board to go. It's just a big board. It stood there looking down at them. It's like a 6-footer in the company of 4-footers, or 3-footers. Amazing. And they're breeding here now. Last year and the year before, the crane board was seen with its offspring, flying in the sky and walking. Amazing. So, the crane board has come back, and the wild hound has come back. Thankfully, we still have the horse, the bull, and we always thought we had a dragon. The bees are being killed off, but they're still out there in the wild. The wild pig, it still exists in a few places. Craiganoan has some wild pig, but it's in a fenced, I think it's 20 acres. And the salmon. The sad thing about the salmon is it's being killed off by bad attitude. The salmon festival at Ballina has become the festival at Ballina because the waters in the river are killing it, and it's not able to come up and be a part of the reason for the town. Huge amounts of salmon used to be caught there. Now, they're not available. And the authorities are not doing anything to fix it. And here's the closing slide. So in there, you have all the details of our website, our Facebook, where you can get the metal plate and the poster. Also, it lists the names of the magic animals. Bradán, Mucka, Banri and Dacha, Ullifest, Tarav, Lervan, Shalandis, August Cora. So that's an introduction to what will become a book. It's in process. Has been in process for a few years now, but it's getting closer all the time. I do have the metal plaque and the posters available for sale on the Celtic Druid Temple website. So, Sinead, thank you all very much for attending quietly.